Hi there, welcome along to another edition of Youth Sports. And as you can see, your screens are a bit dark today because Ntombi Mhlophe Ayiko, who hope is not around today, so I'm going to be holding the fort until she comes back. Ayanda Newswa is the name, and of course in studio, I'm never alone. I got my guest today, DYR's very own Ntobe Gombambo, Shomeng Iril Madrid Dumfaz.
Yeah, we're back. Good. We're back like we never left.
Exactly.
Feels a bit awkward because generally we work together, sports and lot.
Exactly.
You know, from doing radio together, now we're doing TV together. But I guess, we're moving forward.
It's the same thing, just with the cameras this time.
Basically.
Wait, so there's a lot to talk about, a lot to cover today, but I wanted to start with something that has got a lot of people talking in the last week, which was the PSL Awards. Obviously, season is Pelile, Sundowns were crowned champions. The celebrations have been going on for the longest time. But the PSL Awards, the big winners of the night, of course, Peter Shalulile, who got the Player of the Season and the Players Player of the Season.
No-brainer.
The likes of Young Player of the Season, Evidence Mukhopa. We got Dennis Onyango for the Goalkeeper of the Season, Jabulo Ngobo for the Defender of the Season. But the big one, my brother, that got people talking, Abantu Abajabule, that was the Coach of the Season.
Yeah.
So Sundowns did win the league, obviously, but they did not win the Coach of the Season, the three coaches. So Bennie McCarthy was awarded with that. What was your initial reaction to that?
Yeah, no, look, obviously Sundown supporters, they're reeling, you know what I mean, and they mad.
Yeah.
I could literally understand where they're coming from, but for me, look, it's a no-brainer, really. Coach Bennie McCarthy, for me, he's the coach of the season. Well, basically, Temile, and I'm not even shy about that, you know what I mean? I'm not ashamed. Obviously, I'm always going to go and back, Durban sides.
Yeah.
Coach Bennie McCarthy came, 6 games. The season had started. He literally coached 25 games. In 25 games, he won 16 matches. He drew 6. He lost 5, if not mistaken. You know what I mean? In that process, he won 6 games without conceding a goal, and he went 6. In a 6-game match winning streak. 16 games
today.
16 games unbeaten. No, it's just that I want to back my statements because I'm fundamental. I just want them to understand. I want to highlight the importance of Bennie McCarthy
and his impact.
You know what I mean? Look, Bennie McCarthy was a big game player while he was still a player, and obviously now he's a big game coach. Now there is a coach of Amazulu, and he showed against competing against Abo Mangoba Niti, Orulani, some of the best coaches. Obviously in the country. Umandla Ncigazi too also did well. But for me, Bennie McCarthy, he was always going to win it because, if you look at the lack of resources he has compared to his Sundowns, you know what I mean? The fact that his Sundowns, there's 3 head coaches, 3 head coaches. You got Steve Kompela, Mangoba, and Urulani. Bennie McCarthy, he had Vasili, obviously he's assistant at Cape Town City. But if you look at his record, he's not really like a proven head coach. So for me, Bennie McCarthy, look, he did well, he did amazing. I think Bennie Kube Waikali season and also so probably Amazulu could have clinched the DSCV Premiership title, but unfortunately,
you even go as far as saying that.
Exactly, and I've been saying this, you know what I mean? So, and I'm willing to back it up. If you look at the stats, they're really crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The one question that I took out from all of this that I got from the people is that should this award be contested? Because people talk about the fact that Sundowns won the league. Yeah. So automatically that the coach of the season should be awarded to the person who won the league or the people who won the league in this case, which are the Sundowns core coaches. Like, my question is, should this even be contested now? If the reason why coach of the season is there, it's because it can never be just one coach who was outstanding throughout the season. The reason why Bennie McCarthy and Nomandla Ncigazi were there, it's because they had a great season. So should this thing even be contested, just right away?
Look, who said that if you win the league, automatically you are?
You should just get
the
award. Yeah,
it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Last night I was listening to Mark Listen, who was obviously part of the panel. Yeah. About Awata, who coach Bennie McCarthy as a coach of the season, and he said it was so tight in such a way. Only 2. It was like a 2 points votes, which was a difference between Coach Bennie winning as well as the Sundowns trio losing. You know what I mean? It was super tight because it was never an easy call. But guys, if you look at Amazulu, if you look at the Golden Arrows, then you look at the Sundowns. You know what I mean? The resources that the Sundowns have, and bear in mind, yes, Urulani and Coach Mangoba Nqiti, they did well, but that's a well-oiled machine. Upito has worked with the Sundowns for like the longest time. You know what I mean? If anything,
it's his foundation.
It's exactly foundation. Kapito Musamani is still basically its work. They changed up like they didn't really change much. They just tweaked a bit, you know, and obviously added a couple players. So for me, I'm always gonna say Bennie McCarthy deserved it. Had it Golden Arrows finished above Amazulu on second spot, Bengzoti Golden Arrows deserve it. The reason why I'm saying this, Unzigazi and I. Unzigazi's position, guys, even far worse compared to Bennie McCarthy. If you look at the players, Unzigazi, Asebenza Nabo, generally, it's the youngsters from the MDC promoted to the first team. Abanyere was signed from Ikler Africa Championship, a guy like Upule Modi. Those guys were given opportunities from nowhere. They were never like big name signings. Golden Arrows, they don't operate like that because they don't have the budget. But if you look at the Sundowns, guys, I mean, the fact that Amazulu and the Arrows were chasing the Sundowns down up until like the final weeks of the season, it says a lot about the two coaches who were driving those teams. You know what I mean? So, Bennie McCarthy for me, coach of the season, no arguments whatsoever. Abaland Sundowns, I know they pressed, but I feel like Sundowns supporters these days, they're entitled. They just want to win everything. It doesn't win like that. By only Barcelona, Real Madrid, I'm sorry, but
I mean,
you have to be realistic.
Be that big of a deal, though. It's just the coach of the season.
Like I said, they're entitled. You know? I mean, when you're entitled, you know, like back then in the days, or when you're Man United, they used to dominate. Back in the days, though, I don't know if it's 15 or 20 years ago, they were so entitled into everything. You know, like signing the best players. Winning like a player of the month for them, it was so big because they just assumed we're like the biggest club in the world. You know, and I think it's Sundowns, obviously, with them winning so much, now they have the confidence to just say, no, listen, we're the best in the country and we're going to sweep everything.
Before we move on from this, where does it leave Coach Bennie McCarthy? Because the pressure is going to be on now. He's going to be targeted by the fans. He's going to be targeted by the media. You know, he's regarded as the best coach in the DStv Premiership. Going into the next season now, Usutu have to compete.
No, obviously they have to compete. I feel like this season they were competing. What are we on about?
But next season it has to be like solidified from the start.
100%. But now the pressure, if anything, is not with the coach Bennie McCarthy, it's with the board, it's with the president, with the management. Are they willing to back Bennie McCarthy? Are they willing to add quality players? Bear in mind, Amazulu, Ayagwikaf Champions League, you know, next season, provided the Kaizer Chiefs don't pull any surprises, you know, but I'm sure people aren't really giving the Kaizer Chiefs a chance. So let me just say Amazulu are going to be competing with CAF Champions League. But with that being said, now the president, he needs to break the bank. He needs to back Coach Bennie McCarthy, sign him the best of the best. I mean, I've heard they currently chatting to Utabiso Kutumelo to switch sides and join Amazulu from Maritzburg United. Not just Kutumelo, Roland Pushka, who was at Cape Town City. So they, Tabono Tata as well, he's being linked with Amazulu. So you can see now they're aiming for the big guns. They're going for the big fish because obviously now, you know, the expectations are high. They have to compete. And they've seen, you know what? Anything is possible in the DStv Premiership because the other guys, Balahlil.
My brother, let's move over to F1, my brother. We did see the exciting Azerbaijan Grand Prix from this past weekend, the last Grand Prix, before we see the next one. Of course, the most unlikeliest podium finishes. We did see Sergio Perez with Checo winning that one. And of course, Sebastian Vettel getting his first podium for Aston Martin. And Pierre Gasly finished the top three. So the most interesting part about this one was the crashes that happened around the race itself. Obviously, the race was red flagged towards the end because Max Verstappen did actually have his tire literally go out. I think there was like 3 laps left in that race. So a huge blow for him there.
Drama, and just more drama. Look, so many crashes. I mean, so many pit stops. I've never seen a race so...
it was a stop-start.
Exactly, so chaotic, you know what I mean? But obviously exciting for the fans because we literally didn't know what to expect. At some point, we all thought of Lewis Hamilton, perfect opportunity for him to actually run away with the race, you know what I mean? But he also locked up. He had his own challenges. Then at some points, I mean, when we expected Max Verstappen to actually just with literally a couple laps,
3 laps
left just to clinch it. Now he had a tire problem, and obviously an unexpected winner, you know, in Sergio Perez. And no one expected Sergio Perez. I think this was like his second victory of all time in the F1. So this was really crazy, you know what I mean? But super exciting, very chaotic, and hey man, it's staggering. I'm still shocked.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this is that we obviously Verstappen is challenging Hamilton for the title, and it was going to be such a huge turnaround for in terms of the context of the title race, because Hamilton was going to be in a position where he was going to get points, and Verstappen was out of the race.
Exactly.
And then after the restart, immediately after the restart, Hamilton just couldn't turn left.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just went straight through and ended up at number 15.
Yeah.
Which was sort of like redemption for Red Bull and Verstappen, because a lot of people have talked about Hamilton being a very lucky driver. Yes, he's a very fantastic driver. We all know that.
Yeah.
But there is a huge element of luck in his career as well.
100%.
And this would have been one of his luckiest breaks.
Look, initially when obviously Max Verstappen, you know what I mean, when he fell off, I was like, okay, now this guy is always lucky. Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is probably the luckiest driver, you know, in F1 history. You know what I mean. But unfortunately, we, you know, I mean, we had like a twist, a different twist. You know, more drama now. Yeah, like I said, he locked up. That opportunity just blew in his face. But I guess the fact that a driver from Red Bull won, it's a blessing in disguise. One way or another, because teammates got Max Verstappen. But look, it was a mad race. No one literally expected, you know, Azerbaijan Grand Prix to just unfold like that. But this is what we love about sports. You know what I mean? There's always a different plot twist. I mean, every now and again. Yeah.
So 2 bad races in a row for Mercedes. The Monaco Grand Prix was a disaster for them. Obviously, Hamilton didn't do so well. Also, Bottas in that one. But it's 2 good races for Red Bull in a row. Right, exactly. They won the Monaco Grand Prix with Verstappen, and now this one with Perez. Is it too early to say Red Bull? We know they're going to give Mercedes a good push for the title. Is it too early to say there's like a shift that's happening that we might see, or is Ferrari or is Mercedes still pretty much very strong at this point?
Look, I've always said that, you know, in Formula One, probably Red Bull are the only. Are the only team that's closer to challenging Mercedes. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, if you look at Ferrari over the past couple of years, they haven't really been performing well. You know what I'm saying? They've been having so many different challenges, and I don't think their car is good enough to actually challenge a Mercedes, you know. So, yeah, obviously, Red Bull, they're gaining momentum. You know, last year, I mean, we had a couple upsets from Max Verstappen. You know, he won a couple of races. But this season, you know, it seems as if...
They started really well.
They started really well, and it seems as if they're gaining confidence, they're gaining momentum. And at this point in time, well, it's still early, but, you know, with confidence, you know, it literally builds so much moving forward. And I think they have a good chance this season.
All right, so let's move over now to rugby. I can't remember the last time we spoke about the Springboks, but obviously the British and Irish Lions tour is on the horizon starting in July. And the Boks squad has been announced, a 46-man squad for that one. It's really exciting that obviously we're talking about the Boks because they haven't played since that final in 2019 when we won the World Cup. So the boys, they have been in action in their franchises here at home and abroad. But as a group, they haven't played for a really long time.
Yeah, no, look, obviously they literally went the whole year last year without playing. Playing rugby, I mean, obviously due to COVID-19. It's an exciting squad. If you look at that squad, it tells you 2 things. You know what I mean? It's a solid squad with experience, but also they're starting to build for the future.
Exactly. You know? 8 uncapped players in the squad.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at the core of the squad, it's the bulk of the players who won the World Cup. You know, besides a couple guys who retired like Bopista, Tawarira. But the bulk of the squad, obviously, Akolisi, you know, Malcolm Marx. Those players are at the prime of their careers, you know what I mean? They're playing well. If they can keep fit, you know, they can literally do well in upcoming British and Irish Lions tour, you know what I mean? So it's going to be massive. On the flip side, like I said, they're starting to build for the future. Look at a guy like Usanele Nohamba, a guy like Uwandisile Similani, a guy like Apele Lefasi, you know what I mean? It tells you it's okay, you know, Jacques Naniba as well as, you know, his technical team. They're looking ahead. Obviously, 2023 is a Rugby World Cup. They have to start building because some of those players won't be there. Now you have to start recycling. You know, building basically a new team preparing for the tournament. But it has to be a good mixture between youth and experience. And I feel like the squad, 46-man squad, is perfect.
and they're still going to sweat over the fitness of Dwayne Vermeulen, who also got injured. Yeah. He's a big player, key player for the squad. But they also brought in Umone Steyn at the number 10 place, which is a very significant inclusion as well, because he's been doing well with the Bulls.
Yeah, obviously Umone Steyn is a veteran, you know, approaching the twilights of his career. I don't think he's going to make it for the 2023 World Cup. I'd be surprised. No, like
he hasn't played for the Boks since 2016, and now, you know, he's as you're saying, he's a veteran.
Yeah,
you know, but he's just been brought back simply because of how good he's been in the local competitions.
You know, obviously he's been good. What Jay quite did for the Blue Bulls. He basically built his squad based on experience, and the bulk of the team, you know what I mean, it's experienced guys, and they showed their class, because I mean they dominated the Super Rugby the previous year. They won a couple major trophies, you know what I mean, even though I think the Celtic Sharks were the best team in the division, but still, because of the experience, those guys ended up winning more trophies, and the Celtic Sharks literally won no trophy despite being one of the best teams in the competition. So it's going to be interesting, because you need that experience, you know, to guide those youngsters like Abu Sanele Nohamba. Exciting prospects. I'm chuffed for Sanele Nohamba. Obviously, he's just a young lad. We know him playing, you know, just down the road. But the fact that he's part of that the Boks squad, you know, I'm super excited, not just for him, but for a guy like Wapelele Fasi. A lot has been said about his potential, but finally, you know, it's starting to show.
Yeah, I know it's too early to talk about the British and Irish Lions because it's happening next month, but we are going to be having the test, I think, against Georgia and Namibia as well. Yeah. What are your expectations? Do you expect the boys to hit the ground running, given that they haven't played together for such a long time?
Look, like you said, I'm not too sure.
I mean, it is quite easy games for them, you know, in terms of like in preparation for.
In terms of the preparations, well, obviously you can't really read much, you know, when they playing against, because I know they're going to come to Durban to play against the Sharks, if not mistaken. You can't really read much into those games, because most of the players who plays for the Sharks are with the Springboks, you know what I mean? But when they playing, you know, when they playing, obviously the competitive games against the British and the Irish Lions, I'm not too sure what to expect, really, because I'm not too sure if the guys are rusty. Are they going to hit the ground running? The guys in Europe, I know they've been playing for the longest time compared to our guys here in South Africa. You know, so I think it's too early to make some judgment calls, but hopefully, you know, they're going to be doing well, because they're going to be playing at home. So it's going to give them the confidence to actually go on and get the job done.
Yeah, of course, those 3 test matches will be the warm-up games before we actually start the British and Irish Lions tour in July. All right, my brother, we're going to wrap it up now looking at the Euros. Of course, they will be happening starting on Friday. They were scheduled to happen last year because of COVID-19. It had to be moved this year, but now we're really excited about the start of the Euros on Friday. So I don't even know where to start. I was looking at the groups, right?
Yeah.
And I just cannot take my eyes off Group F, bruh. Like, it's the most insane thing. We got France, Germany, Hungary, and Portugal in one group. Like, let's just start there first of all, before we talk about the favorites and before we look at the other groups as well.
Yeah, no, look, obviously that group, it's a blockbuster fixture to kick things off. France up against Germany. I mean, what a way, you know what I mean? Not so long ago in the Champions League, we saw Bayern up against PSG.
Yeah.
It was a blockbuster fixture, box office type stuff, you know, and I'm expecting the same, really. I mean, with France, interestingly, Karim Benzema is back in the team. It's fireworks. You know, it's going to be fireworks.
He had to come back after this group.
I think he had to come back. I think when the coach saw that obviously we're going to be playing against teams like Germany, then you have to bring your best players, your key players. And Karim Benzema over the past 3-4 years has been consistent. He's been one of the best strikers in Europe. Unfortunately, because if Wamshia and it's you're getting sacked in the morning. So he basically had no choice. So it's going to be I'm not even too sure who to bow group for starters.
Let's talk about the squads, right, of these 3 teams, Germany, France, and Portugal. On paper, obviously, France have the strongest squad because, I mean, it's just a ridiculous team from the defense to the midfield and the attack. But I think Portugal do have a better squad balance than Germany. Right, because Germany only brought 2 strikers, and one of them is always offside and missing goals.
Timo Werner, that's my striker, bro. Put some respect on his name.
And that's your Champions League winner, Timo Werner.
Exactly.
Timo Werner. So I think Portugal have a better balance than Germany. Not necessarily the better squad. You know, it's just that the balance is a much better with the attacking talent that Portugal have. Obviously, Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, That's that João Felix. That's a quality attack. What have you made of the squads, and who do you think is the strongest, or even who could be second up behind France for this one?
That's tough, but I think you're right. I have to agree with you on this one. If you look at Portugal, that attack, they have Cristiano Ronaldo, a guy like Bernardo Silva, João Felix. The list is endless.
Jota.
Exactly. He's a Liverpool guy. You have to mention.
No, but you have to say it. Why are you leaving Diogo Jota?
Then you look at the back. There's a goalkeeper like Neto. The Wolves goalkeeper, right? Rui Patricio. Sorry, yes, Rui Patricio.
Ruben
Diaz at the back. You've
Cancelo.
got João Cancelo. So
they're stacked.
It's just so much. I'm not too sure about in midfield, but I know in defense and in attack, those guys are sorted.
What are you trying to say about Bruno Fernandes, my brother?
No, look, I'm not trying to downgrade the players like about Bruno Fernandes, but with the engine of the team generally wins you games. You know what I mean? And I'm not too sure if Portugal, when it comes to the engine, they've got the right players. Yes, Bruno is a good player, but we know he's more like a 10, like an attacking midfielder. Yeah. But I'm talking about the CDMs, the central midfielders. You know what I mean? I'm not really convinced. I think that's where their weaknesses is rather. If you look at a team like France, they've got Kante, who's probably the best midfield in Europe at this moment in time. They've got Pogba. Pogba is one of the best midfielders in Europe. So you can already see the difference. You know what I mean? You go to Germany, they have a guy like a Joshua Kimmich. Kimmich can play at the back.
Kroos.
They've got a Toni Kroos. So the list is just endless. Gundogan as well. He's been one of the best midfielders in Europe with Manchester City this season. He's banging goals. He's basically been on form this season. So I think a weakness here Portugal has to be in midfield. In midfield, and unfortunately, that's a key position if you want to go all the way in the Euros. You know what I'm saying? Germany. I don't think they're going to make it out of that group. I think it's going to
Germany are not going to make it.
I think it's going to obviously.
To be fair, they haven't been that great. Lately.
I think it's going to be France as number one. Portugal, coming off as number two. Yeah. But probably Germany are going to make it through
because of the third best team.
Exactly. You know, I just suspect that's how they're going to make it. But obviously, it's just early predictions based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like you said, their attack, I'm not really convinced. They don't have like a out and out number 9 who's going to give you goals. A guy like a Lewandowski, unfortunately, plays for Bayern, but not for Germany. I'm sure they wish to have a guy like Lewandowski.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's going to be France as number 1, Portugal number 2,
and Germany at 3.
And Hungary are the whipping boys. I don't even see them winning one game in that group.
Yeah, of course. Now we're going to talk about the favorites. We still have the likes of Belgium, who are also strong contenders for this one. They have a very good squad.
Yeah.
The likes of Spain. I'm not sure if we should mention England. People like talking about England a lot.
It's coming home.
But they always say it's coming home.
It's coming home.
Obviously, Gareth Southgate did introduce his squad a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
And he had his 4 right backs. Now Trent is out. Yeah. So I think he brought in a guy called Ben White from one of the Premier League teams. I don't really know him that much. But but what do you make of the England squad? Do you think they have a genuine chance? People have been talking about them. Do you think they have a genuine chance of challenging in the Euros, right? And how far do you see them going?
Look, in terms of player for player, I think they literally up there with the best. You know what I mean? In terms of good Euro, but the coach is a suspect to Gareth Southgate. I mean, why would you even bring 4 right backs for starters?
Well, but
that's suspicious.
But who would you leave?
But end of the day, you have to pick players based on form. If you think Ulrich James has not been good enough this season, just drop him.
They've all been on form.
Exactly, but I kind of feel like there's other positions he could have prioritized. I mean, if you look at the centre back options, now that's where Maguire is injured. Who are you gonna fall back to? John Stones, yes, he's had a good season this year. Yeah. But we all know generally he's a suspect. Tyrone Mings, do you think Tyrone Mings can get the job done against your Ronaldos, your some of the best strikers in Europe? Exactly.
Yeah.
Karim Benzema, I don't think he can handle them. He doesn't have that required experience. For me, it could have prioritized other positions rather than focusing on bringing 3 right backs. The fact that Trent was injured, for me, it was a blessing in disguise because it ensured Uguti they're going to bring another player to just balance things out at the back, more especially.
Yeah.
I think what Prowse from Southampton was a big mistake because it's going to give them something in terms of set pieces. You know, he can also play at midfield. He can play at the back. So he's an all-rounder. You need players like that when you're going to a major tournament because players can get injured. Another problem with the England, similar to what I said with the Portugal, and the central midfield, with Jordan Henderson, you're not too sure what's happening. He's injured. He's not fit. He's not 100% fit because I don't think he's going to start that game against Croatia. You know what I mean? So it means now you have to start the young kid, Jody Bellingham.
Or Declan Rice.
Declan Rice. You have to gamble on those guys. You don't have a choice. You know what I mean? In other positions, I think they sorted. I mean,
they have a very good attack.
Forward. You know, the forward line is spot for choices. Who do you go with? You go with the Harry Kane. You go with the Rashford. There's Phil Foden. There's Mason Mount. Where you're gonna fit Sancho? There's also Grealish. I think he has to get the balance right because if he doesn't, unfortunately,
right. Before we wrap it up, my brother, I'm not gonna ask you to tell me who's gonna win the Euros. I just want you to give me.
I know who's gonna win the Euros.
I just wanted you to give me your last 4, your semi-finalists for the Euros. Who do you have?
I think first and foremost, umuntu ozowina ama Euros uzophuma kula group F. For me, straight uzophuma kula group. It has to be last 4 has to be France, Portugal. I see Belgium
in the semis. Yeah,
I see Belgium and Italy. They've been doing well.
Done.
Yeah,
that was Umbambo, and that was the Youth Sports. We're going to move over now to the Jaeger quiz. Are you ready, my brother?
When it comes to drinking, I'm always ready.
All right, my brother, you know the drill. 3 questions. Hope usually asks you very easy questions.
Not so easy.
No, those questions are usually easy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, first question. Right.
Wait. Who do I? I know. Obviously, if it's the rules have to be the rules. Okay, but come back.
Right. First question. Who is the youngest F1 driver to win a Grand Prix, a race?
Sergio Perez.
How? The answer is Max Verstappen, and this was in the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. He was 18 years of age. Shayamvana. Yabona ngifuna nje ukugila namhlanje nawe shaqa. Right. You should get this one. Right, Formula 1 as well. Right, Lewis Hamilton won his first Formula 1 World Championship title with which team?
Mercedes.
His first one.
Mercedes.
Aye, Shona Konabab. It was McLaren. Started off at McLaren and then went to Mercedes. Right, last question is a tennis question.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean there's
just drink. It's a clues, pal.
Right, okay. This one is easy, my brother. What is Roger Federer's home country?
Roger Federer, Spain.
Yeah. Hey. Roger Federer, not Rafa Nadal.
Oh,
not Rafa Nadal.
I got it wrong.
You got it wrong.
Why am I thinking?
It's not. I said Roger Federer, not Rafa Nadal. Nadal is from Spain. Federer is from Switzerland.
But okay, wait. One of them is here from South Africa originally. Like his mom is from South Africa.
I think it's
Nadal.
All right.
No, Roger.
Have your last one, my brother. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I've been examining if it's with some easy questions, but obviously thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully Hope is going to be back again next week for Youth Sports. I am the new Swatobe Gombambo signing off.
Cause I'm not Tegui, and it's that shit to send me. Belly I keep send me. Cause I'm not Tegui, cause I'm not Tegui. Dada yap kule Dubai, yap aglo tot feb Dubai.